Morning, News 24. News 24. Yeah. Oh, wait.
You know, I tell them that as hard as it is, it's never a nice situation to be in, but, we've all been in these situations. Ultimately, you got to look at yourself. You're representing the franchise, you're representing the brand, you're representing the league. So pride in performance, that never goes out the window. It's an opportunity for the next 4 games for someone to be a hero, to turn it all around. Yes, obviously we can't make the playoffs anymore, but that's, I said, the new challenges. I said to them last night that it's a new year. They got to be all aspects of the game, mentally, technically, physically, things like that you got to look at in order to improve as a cricketer. Both with bat and ball. So that for me is the first thing, and it's obviously nice to be part of different leagues because you see the different skill, the skill on display. You see the abilities to read situations. So there's all things that it's nice to be able to pick up. And now we've obviously got ourselves in this situation, and a lot of the times the reading of the situations on the field is where we've fallen short. The basics of building a little bit of pressure and partnerships with bat and ball. Those are the things as a coach that I look at. How do your understanding, your reading of the game? Those guys they're all good. They're all talented players, with bat and ball. So that for me is where maybe we've been lacking, this particular squad of players, just the understanding of the game, making better decisions, things like that. And that is why the guys at the bottom of the log, not only us, that's where they fall short a little bit.
Don't you think that lack of all-rounders, quality all-rounders, made the difference of this team?
Yeah, look, unfortunately, I wasn't at the draft.
Yeah.
I wasn't at the draft, so I was basically handed a squad. If I was obviously at the draft, I would have looked at a couple of top left-hand batsmen, some more left-arm seamers. That's the squad I was given. As a coach, I need to look at how I'm going to put pressure on the opposition. So when we play, the opposition will see we only have one left-arm batsman, one left-hand batsman. So for their bowlers, it's a lot easier to put pressure on our batsmen because we only have right-hand batsmen. You never see squad of players without one left-hand batsman. That's like standard that you should have at least 2 in your top 6 so that you can put pressure on the opposition bowlers. I don't have that, So it's been difficult. So if the guys' mentality, mentally, they don't read the situations and you don't have those partnerships up front, then it's difficult to put even more pressure on in the second half of the batting because there's just no other variety. It's not about we've got left-arm spinners, we've got right-arm spinners. Unfortunately, the balls haven't been turning. The wickets have been great. So it makes a difference if you've got left-arm spinner or a right-arm spinner. It's your variety of pace and the line and your lengths that you bowl with regards to spinning. And you see a real quality of a spinner when the ball's not turning. It's not when it's turning. So that creativity, their skill at the end of the day is where I said to them, that's where they need to improve. And then all the spinners, a lot of the spinners have gone for runs. It's just the way it is because the wickets have been so good. And that's why, someone like a Rashid Khan, he does well in wickets that don't turn. And that's, it's nice to be able to say that because you then see the real quality of a spinner. Not when it turns, when it's not turning. So, I think, but in saying that, I've only had right-hand batsmen. So I need them to actually make runs. Otherwise, there's no pressure on anybody. So it's unfortunate, but that is the squad that I was dealt with. But hopefully, they can, after these next couple of games, they can actually, sit and think about where they actually need to improve skill level-wise and just their understanding of reading the situations better on the field. That is why the guys at the bottom are where they're at, because they just don't always apply the pressure or absorb the pressure when need be. Yeah.
What about the BPL? Actually, you saw the BPL in Dhaka and Chittagong and back in Dhaka.
Yeah.
Coming to Sylhet, it will be little. But will you tell us why this the BPL standard stands actually?
Is what? Sorry?
The standard of the tournament.
The standard. Like I said, the standard's good. The standard's good. You know, you're going to get that. Obviously, international players play more around the world. So you expect them to be leading a lot of the time. You know, they should be the example. I think the local players, for me, I mean, a lot of them don't understand English. So it's difficult for me to make points all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a frustration. Because, you know, when I talk there, I can see they're listening, but it's not really sinking in. You know, it's not sinking in. For me, I just think the understanding of the game just needs to improve. That's the one thing, is that they're very temperamental, you know, and I think, I mean, it's difficult for me just to explain it to them because they don't understand, you know. I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, it's not his fault. I mean, the other day, Rubel, opening the batting, he was on 14 after 28 balls. And I walked onto the field on the timeout and I said, what is happening? You've got 14 of 28 balls. And he just shook his head. You know, I mean,
The communication system is doing everything.
yeah, so it's a prime example of not understanding the situation.
Most of them like that.
Yeah, you know, understanding. I mean, that is the difficulty. You know, it's now 2020, the year 2020. If a batsman can't understand that he's got 14 runs off 20 balls or 25 balls, he must keep going. You know, I think, you know, maybe came here with too much expectation, maybe with regards to the mental side of the aspect of the game, with regards to the local players. And that's just something, that the better players understand better. And that's why I think like someone like Shakib Al-Hasan, his understanding of the game and reading situations has improved over the last couple of years. He's the one guy. You look at the way even he played in the World Cup. He always gave himself a chance to get in. He was never felt that he needed to go from ball one. You know, so his timing of his innings was good. And those are the small things that I think the local players must start to improve on if they need to take the game to another level. And that's the mental side. But like I said, you know, I can try and speak to them. If they can't understand, then, you know, I can't help it. That's been the issue, yes.
Yeah, there's someone like Mosaddek Hussain who has been a promising player for Bangladesh for a long time, but
Yeah.
hasn't performed yet in the international level. This tournament too hasn't performed well.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's lacking, and where the areas he needs to work on?
Look, I think, you know, he can play. It's just up to him as to how much better he wants to improve. I think, like I said, it's the understanding. These guys can play. Mutton, two of the best paced innings in T20 that I see that he played. First game he got 90 odd, beautifully paced. You know, he paced himself nicely. The areas in which he hit the ball was great, and he proved it again when he got 40 odd the other day. Nicely paced. You know, a lot of the time these guys overthink it. It's about hitting big shots. It's not just about hitting big shots. It's about how you pace your innings, the areas in which you hit the ball, when you decide to attack, when you need to hold yourself to attack, you know, build partnerships, all those sort of things. You know, it's like, I'll give you an example. So the first game, Mutton got 90 odd, great. Next game, he got 40 odd, other day. And then 6 overs the other day, he got naught, but there were 6 overs to bat. You know, so sometimes they don't trust their ability. You know, it's a time where he needed just to knock it around for 5 balls and then go again. You know, so he tried a different option, it didn't work. You know, so those small little things, the better players do it more often, you know, than the other players that are not so good. And that is where, like I said, the mental side of it, if they can just improve the mental side of it, they'll see a huge difference in their play. It's not about, because they've got the skill, they've got the shots. It's the mental aspect that they just need to improve. And you can see, I mean, like I said, Shakib has been completely different to the rest. And you must know why, because he's thinking here more. The understanding of the game is better than the other players. That is why he's done so good. He always gives himself a chance, but it's his reading of the situation that has improved over the last couple of years, and that is why he's been so consistent in whatever format it's been. That's the difference. It's not just about T20, it's not just about hitting and hitting. You leave those for the guys down at the order, the bottom order. Those are the guys that finish the innings, you know, the guys that rely on power. Those are the guys, Like say you pay the big money to hit off 10 balls, they can try and get you 30 or 40. That sort of thing, you know. So, like I said, that is the one fundamental that I've noticed, not just from our local players, but from all the teams, you know. And it's almost about just wanting to go. And this T20, like I said right before the start of the tournament, it's not just about applying pressure, because you've got to absorb a little bit of pressure and then go. And those, I always talk about the three P's: the pressure, partnerships, and patience. Those all apply whatever format when it comes to batting and bowling. And T20 is no different. And it's also about hunger. A good batsman in the world, irrespective of the format, they always score runs, whatever the format. They're always hungry to score. They never give it away easy. You look at whoever, Kohli, De Villiers, they're always hungry to score. You can never score enough. And those are the small things that the local players need to understand. It's reading the situation better. You'll see how much better they'll become.
Marshall,
Yes, sir.
you got a nice player like Mohammad Mithun.
Yes.
Who played 3 knocks.
Yeah.
Good knocks actually. And talent-wise, why do you stand? But he didn't produce that much score and that much run for Bangladesh cricket. How do you evaluate Mithun actually? Why
He's
do you
also.
need to
I mean, I haven't seen a lot of him over the years. This is my first opportunity that I worked with him. Like I said, it's this. When you've got the talent, it's about reading it, but you also got to know your game. You got to know your game. You got to know your abilities. And Mithun is good. He's got great timing. You can see he's got all the shots, but he needs to work it out for himself. I can't tell him. He's played a couple of years international, but like I said, it's the 1%ers. And the more you understand yourself better, the better you become. I mean, he's old enough now. That's all I can tell him. But then again, the language barrier is also an issue. I'd love to be able to speak to him like this, like I'm speaking to you now, and he'll say you can understand every word. But it's unfortunately not the case. I'm not sure what Neil Mackenzie is saying. Because we also come from South Africa. I mean, I'm also South African, so I don't know if he's also helping them understand what he's trying to do. But I know he's a good coach. And the guys will learn a lot from him. But I don't know how much he's actually getting across to them.
Situation is same.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll have to, get a new language before I come here. So, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, people.
Happy New
Thanks.
Year again.
Yeah, thank you.